Paul Rappaport was a veteran CBS Records executive whose career in the music industry spanned decades, bridging the worlds of artistry and commerce. As the senior VP of CBS Records and working closely as an A&R rep, Rappaport worked very closely with some of music's most iconic names. And in the golden era of vinyl, known for his keen ear and behind-the-scenes savvy, Rappaport just wrote about his escapades in a new memoir titled Gliders Over Hollywood. The book offers an insider's look at the record biz, filled with pretty cool anecdotes, quirky encounters, and the kind of wisdom only a seasoned music man can deliver. Whether working the phones to push a single or navigating the egos of rising stars, Paul Rappaport was one of the industry's unsung heroes, a passionate record man with a lot of stories to tell, and now he's finally letting you know all about them. Rappaport played a pivotal role during Bob Dylan's later years. He worked closely with Bruce Springsteen. He worked with Pink Floyd and Roger Waters, juggling the new solo artists and the classic band led by David Gilmour. The book tells about his tours with the Rolling Stones. It talks about promoting Billy Joel at a pivotal point in his career. He was part of the grunge era with Alice in Chains. In the book, there are memorable moments with Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, and he worked closely with Journey. Rappaport's memoirs, Gliders Over Hollywood, offers an in-depth, sometimes very funny, always entertaining look at the world of rock promotion. Speaking of people no longer with us, well, Hendrix but Phyllis Fender, a couple of years before she passed away, she co-wrote that book. And I said, well, what, with your dearly departed husband, she said, it was only that time that Jimi Hendrix lit that's the only part he didn't like, when Jimmy lit that guitar on fire.
He didn't like one of his guitars being burned up.
Leo was not happy. That was one of his children, and somebody is smashing it and burning it, and he was not a happy man.
So you were there?
Yeah, I saw it. In fact, it's interesting. I was talking to the publisher of the book, and he said, this is the only story where you don't meet Hendrix. You're not talking to Hendrix, like you're not meeting him.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but it's important for young people who read this book. They need to know what Jimi Hendrix was. They need to know what that experience was like to see this, because there's nothing like it. He's an anomaly, right? Like you've never seen anything like it in your life. Now, I wanted to write what it felt like to be there in person, to see this guy who needed no light show, who needed nothing. He just was this magic guy who literally walked out on stage. I didn't even know it was him. He was talking to us just like, hey, everybody, hi, it's me. Yeah. We're going to start, we're going to jam a little bit. We're going to, we'll do Purple Haze and we'll do Fire. Then we're going to jam a little bit if that's okay. I'm going, what? But as soon as it starts, right? He's talking to you. He's with you. He's not talking at you like a rock star. He's we're all, in those days, we're all the same. Like we're all hippie freaks. This is music we're celebrating. He happens to be making it. We happen to be listening to it. As soon as it starts and he hits that strat, right? And it's dun, 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 dun. He becomes, it's like a Salvador Dali painting. He melts into the guitar and the guitar melts into him. And the music comes out of these Marshall stacks, right? Guitar players, we play notes, from the top neck, from here to here, right? That's where all the notes are. But that's not where Hendrix notes are.
Yeah.
Hendrix notes come from freaking Pluto and Saturn, and nobody even knows how he does it. I mean, he's got a whammy bar, but these notes, the music is, it comes from another planet, and it hits you this way. That's how the music hits you. You never seen a guy play like this. You never heard notes like this, sounds using feedback as part of the soundscape. This is before Eddie Van Halen and tap, 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 tap. We're like hypnotized. And you read about this show, and there's interviews about people who were at this show. This is a very famous Hendrix show where he's like a shaman, like we're all walking towards the stage There used to be a fountain at the Hollywood Bowl in front of the stage, like the orchestra plays, and there's a fountain. There used to be a fountain there. 30 kids jumped into the fountain just because the music made them crazy, right? And now people are in the fountain, dance swaying into the music. And Hendrix is going, whoa, 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 don't splash water up here. There's a lot of electrical stuff up here. This could get really dangerous. Don't do that. Then he starts right on playing again. Somebody at the Hollywood Bowl figured out, oh, there's 30 kids that just jumped in the pool. Turn the fountain on. They'll get out. They turned the fountain on. 60 more kids jumped into the pool. So you're talking about, this isn't like a concert nowadays. You go and sit down like a nice, in a nice seat. This is the 60s. This is like a happening. All of the Hollywood Bowl is crunched down towards the stage. 60 kids are dancing in the water. And the music, just, for anybody who's never even heard Jimi Hendrix, just go, just on your Spotify or Tidal or whatever you do, just put on Are You Experienced? Crank it to as loud as you can. Hey, if you have headphones, to see this live it's one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen in my life. What the music did, what it meant to us, how it felt. So I wanted to try to capture that, how it was. And, I've been in the business my whole life. I've seen everybody. I've seen Pink Floyd a bunch of times, Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel, you name them, Eric Clapton, Cream. I've seen it all. I was lucky because I'm from that time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's Jimi Hendrix, and then there's a space.
Yeah.
And then you start with Cream and Eric Clapton. And you're talking Cream. I saw Cream. They're talking heavy duty rock stuff. Rolling Stones, my guys. Everybody's here. Hendrix is here. Space, everybody else. That's how amazing he was to see live. And we'd never seen anything like it. And of course, he was a showman. So at the end of the show, he laid the Stratocaster down. He poured lighter fluid on it, lit the match, flames coming up. The amps are still blaring. The feedback's coming out. Mitch Mitchell, these guys, first of all, the band members, Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell, these guys are amazing players. Playing furiously. The guitar's still on. It's on fire. The flames are like 8 feet in the air. I don't know what to say other than just like that's what Jimi Hendrix was.
Do you think that all that kind of stuff, all the bands you saw before you even started being in the industry, there's a part of that, if you get it or even experience it on your level, that your template increases.
I was blessed. I saw a lot of acts before I was in the music business. It was the time when all this was, I would go to shows for $3. How's this? Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Then a new band called Chicago Transit Authority.
Oh, them.
Or them, right? New band. Never, I remember watching Chicago going, now they were on Columbia, but I'm a kid, but this is before they're anything, right? And I'm like, I wonder if that's going to work because that's like horns. Like they're really good, but, rock's like power chords. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, I wonder if that will work. Well, it's, duh. I'm watching this and the headliner is The Who, right? I'm watching The Who in 1960, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, like what a band, right? And I'm watching rock history. Roger Daltrey came out with these wooden blocks. He goes, yeah, we have a new song we're going to debut tonight. It's called Magic Bus. Click, 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 click. Okay, so I'm there when they debut Magic Bus. And I'm like, this is one of the greatest rock songs I've ever heard in my life. And I'm lucky enough to be there. They're debuting Magic Bus. And so when you're a kid growing up in the 60s, you're seeing this even before I'm in the business, right? I'm seeing all this. Like I'm seeing Cream, Eric Clapton live, Jack Bruce, Ginger Baker, extraordinary music. Procol Harum. I don't know how many, this is like not a band, the band doesn't become as big as these other bands. Procol Harum. What a band. B.J. Wilson. One of the greatest drummers I've ever seen in my life. B.J. Wilson.
That famous concert, that famous live concert was recorded 2.5 hours from here in Edmonton.
Yeah, right. Live. Edmonton Orchestra, one of my favorite albums, right? What a band, Yeah. 3 guitar players. Pick any one of them. They're all great. It's Mick Grabham. I saw a guy, when I saw him live, it was a guy named Dave Ball. Fantastic. Of course, Robin Trower was the original guy. But I think I sometimes I just feel so blessed having grown up in the 60s.
Yeah.
Forget rock. What about Motown? You could write a book just on all the Motown songs that went in here. It's a whole nother thing, another genre. What about country? Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard. I'm a kid growing up in the 60s, all this music. Then the Beatles and the Stones happen and it's all over. It's like, then it's forget it. It's like you can't even keep up with all the music. It's like Dave Clark 5 and the Hollies and geez, it's just astonishing.
Loverboy. I've talked to Mike a few times. He says he cannot fit in those. He's got the bandanas still, but he cannot fit in those leather pants. I like a self-deprecating guy who gets older, can laugh at himself. That's sometimes rare in rock and roll.
Reno always could laugh at himself. The day I met him, he could laugh at himself. He's that guy. He's just that kind of guy. Their whole story is in this book. The whole Loverboy story is in this book, right? So I'll never forget. So they hit it big. They start to make money. So Reno shows up. He's got a Rolex, right? Rap, look at my Rollie. He's got the Canadian accent. Look at my Rollie. Look at my Rollie. And we're laughing. It's like, hey, God bless you, Reno. It's like I'm glad, and it's a wonderful story actually to read how that happened for those guys. And and he's just this big, lovable teddy bear type guy, right? So we go shopping. We're in New York. We're shopping at big time stores, right? And we're like at Tiffany's. We're like, they hit the big time. So the funniest thing, so he goes to leave the store. He leaves his Rollie on the counter, right? He's leaving. So I grab it. I walk out of the store. Hey, Reno, what time is it? I hold it up. Hey, look at my Rollie. Look at my Rollie. Those guys, good guys, secret sauce, forget Reno, forget Paul Dean, secret sauce, rhythm section. The rhythm section of that band.
Matt Fournette, man.
Really talented, bass and drums. That's the secret sauce behind Loverboy. Like, you got to have songs and you got to have those guys, but that's the engine.
They don't get the credit for being as tight as they are. I remember seeing them at an outdoor concert for Ched in Edmonton. And Mike remembered the show, this free outdoor show. And I remember going, holy God, these guys are tight.
Yeah, people don't realize, because, they had hit records. Unless you see them live, you don't realize how good they are as a band, right? Like, you're talking really talented musicians.
Yeah. But
Journey gets slagged like that too, because they have big hits and maybe they had a couple of cheesy videos, and people think that Journey is somehow some cheesy band. No, this is like one of the greatest bands you could ever hear, with the greatest guitar player. Go see these bands and you realize, oh yeah, they're making hit records, but these people are talented musicians. And Loverboy, no exception.
How was it managing the new version of Pink Floyd, and you had Radio Chaos with Roger, and I don't know how could those two worlds in your life coexist?
It was very difficult because I had worked with them together as Pink Floyd, and I was a big fan of all of their music. And when they split, and it was very contentious, and Roger was suing because he didn't think they would move along as Pink Floyd without him. And it worked was they were going to split up, and David and Nick said, well, can we keep the name? And Roger said, fine, because Roger didn't think they would want to go on without him. Then they decided to go on as Pink Floyd, and then Roger went, well, wait a minute, you can't do that. And they went, well, yeah, we can. I mean, there was Pink Floyd when Syd Barrett was here, and then he left. Dave Gilmour came. He's not the first guitar player. It's like, so we still want to do this, and we think we can. And it got really, really bad. I mean, it got bad in the press. I mean, it was incendiary, the slings and arrows being shot. And I'm right in the middle of it, right? I'm right in the middle. And I got Roger in this ear. What are they doing? What are they doing? And I got Dave and Nick in this ear. What is he doing? What is he doing? And I told both of them, I said, look, I've loved you guys since the first time I saw you, which I'd seen the Dark Side of the Moon tour. They weren't even on Columbia then. I just went to see them, and I just changed my life. It was like, oh my God, So I said, look, I love you guys. I'm not getting in the middle of this. I said, Roger, I'm gonna work with you 110%. If for whatever artistic reason you guys aren't together anymore, I don't care. But I'm not gonna tell you what they're doing. That's up to you guys. You and I are working together. You and me, Roger. You and I are doing Radio Chaos. We're doing everything we're gonna do together. And there's a whole story in there about Radio Chaos that's gonna blow a lot of Pink Floyd people's minds. And I said, we're doing this. And I said, Nick and Dave, we're going to do this together. And I'm not telling you what Roger's doing. It's none of your business now. It's he's got a solo career. My ears were ringing from both sides. And of course, the biggest issue was, were the fans going to accept David Gilmour and Nick Mason as Pink Floyd without Roger Waters? That's a big question. It's a big question. And the other question is, do people care enough about Roger Waters as a solo artist? We don't know. They don't know. Okay? This is like, we're going to see what happens. It's all in the book. I mean, the whole, how I had to deal with it in the beginning, how it was to try to promote Pink Floyd as Pink Floyd and try to separate, this kind of thing.
Why wasn't Richard Wright, why was he a guest, written down as a guest and not what, did he left? What happened?
No, well, what happened was, Roger was becoming very powerful within the band. And the Wall record in particular was sort of his sort of story. And he was carrying so much weight that for whatever reason, he didn't hear Rick Wright in this music, right? Now, if you're a Pink Floyd fan like I am, as good as The Wall is, it's a great record. How can there be a Pink Floyd record without Richard Wright? Not for me. It's not. It doesn't. Richard Wright is Pink Floyd soundscape. Excuse me. Roger didn't want it. He had a different idea. And The Wall does sound quite different than other Pink Floyd albums. I mean, it's a specific sound. And so he sort of unceremoniously sort of said, I don't need you on this record. I don't know the whole story. I don't know how much David or Nick fought for him to be in it. As soon as Roger exits, the first thing they do is get Richard Wright back, because how do you not? Why wouldn't you? I mean, Nick and Dave were like, how are we doing this without Richard Wright? So as soon as that happened, and when Dave went on solo tours, when David went on a solo tour for On an Island, which is a wonderful record, if you're a Pink Floyd fan and you don't know On an Island, go get On an Island. However you get it these days, just get it. It's a brilliant record. So Richard Wright is now playing on these shows with David Gilmour. And David Gilmour, so you're all Pink Floyd fans, right? David Gilmour, when he's announcing the band members, right? And he announces Richard Wright. And in every single show, standing ovation for, I'm not kidding you, at least 8 minutes. The appreciation from fans for Richard Wright, who actually get Richard Wright. When he introduced, and he had Manzanera from Roxy Music playing with him as a sideman. Richard Wright, and the place stands up. It got to the point where David even looked a little perturbed, like, I have to finish this show. You got to sit down. And I thought for Richard, because you play the big arena, you don't know, it's too big. You know what Nick Mason told me? He learned how to fly a plane because he wanted to do something on his own. He wanted to know, am I worthwhile as anybody? Can I do something on my own? I'm in this group. But what about me? I need to know that I can do something on my own. That's why he learned how to fly a plane. So he could just feel like, oh, I'm somebody besides the drummer for Pink Floyd. Richard's like a sideman. He's not Dave Gilmour. It's Gilmour, Waters. That's what you all hear about. Wow. For Richard, right? Standing ovation, nonstop. People crying, just like wanted him to know what he meant to them.
What was the impetus for you to start writing this book? I mean, you obviously have a lot of stories. Doesn't mean you have to write them, but some people have that urge, like a diary, to reread their diary. What was the impetus for you to write the book?
I was blessed to have this life in the music business and work for a huge record company. And because they were so big, the company was so big, we had all of these artists, Columbia and Warner's were the two big companies. Our roster is huge, and I'm, pretty good-natured fellow, and I'm a storyteller. I think I got that from my dad. I love telling stories. If you've read the book or part of the book, I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's like it's this is really how it was. And but I'm always telling stories about it to people. And it occurred to me that as time was passing by, this is this is going to fade away unless somebody sort of writes, hey, look, just so you know, this is how this was. Now, there's a lot of music books, right? But they're all from perspectives of an artist. So you get their world, right? Or a record producer, you get their world. Um, but no one ever sort of tried to run the gamut. It's like here's the beginning. Here's how rock start. Here's FM rock radio. Here's how this goes. What is it like to work in a record company? What is it like for the salesman? What is it like for this? Who are the radio people? What are their personalities like? And I just wanted to just try to cover it all. I just wanted to share the stories because I'd been sharing them verbally just with people over the years. And if you read the book, it's just fun stuff. It's pretty funny. Most of it. I wanted people to have fun like I had fun. Like I wanted to share, like, hey, this was, and not all of it was fun. I mean, I've had some down times as people would. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, in the music business. I mean, at Columbia, we had a high standard, right? All the records got to go to number one. Number two isn't good enough. It's an art form to finesse a record to number one. They just don't happen to be number one on their own. It's, you work towards that. So that they were so big, I just didn't want them to be forgotten. And I thought, well, I could put all this together and just share all this with everybody, hopefully in an entertaining fashion. So if I could write it like you're there, I want you to have fun like I had fun. So I want to put you in the room. You're going to talk to Mick Jagger. You're going to talk to Keith Richards. You're going to talk to Tony Bennett. That's what I wanted to do. And it just kept gnawing at me over the years. Like, you really should write this book. You really should write this book. I am not a natural writer. I learned how to write because I wrote a blog for 10 years. And I learned I got a voice. Like you eventually have a voice. So I think when I got my voice as a writer and the blogs started to actually be good, like, hey, this is good writing, and writing is like rewriting and then rewriting and then editing and, all of this reworking, to make it good. I think I started to write when I had that tool. It was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I could do this now because I know how to write now. I couldn't do it before, but I don't think I need a ghostwriter. I think I could do this now because I found my voice. And then about 6 years ago, I told my partner, who has it's a promotion company for classic rock music. It was funny. I was doing production, TV production and radio production. She said, "Do you want to do promotion again?" And I kind of did it, and she said, "Well, you'll meet some of the same characters that you worked with years ago." So it was fun, because that's what we did. It was like I did Journey's whole career. And now all of a sudden I'm working with them again. And Neil Sean's on the phone going, Rap. My nickname's Rap because my last name's Rap. Rap, is that you? I'm on the phone and go, yeah, Neil, how you doing? Oh my God. It's like, so that was fun. But and so I wrote a blog for this website, it's Classics du Jour website, and I wrote a blog for 10 years. And then 6 years ago, I said, look, I've been thinking about writing this book, and I think I have to write it. Like, I'm getting called from somebody up there, like, you got to write this book. And I told her I have to leave the day job because this is a job. If you want to write a good book, right? You can't, like, at night part-time do this. This is like you get up, you have a couple cups of coffee, and you write, and then you rewrite, and then you throw it out and you start over. It's like this is like 6 years of writing, 3 editors. If you want to make it good, I mean, you're getting down to like every sentence, every word. This word's not the right word. It doesn't say it right. Like, there's people you meet in this book that you would never know. Like, who's going to know the songwriter, producer / manager of Blue Oyster Cult, Sandy Pearlman, who's mad as a hatter in the most wonderful ways. I didn't want Sandy to be forgotten. I didn't want Herbie Herbert to be forgotten, the manager of Journey. What a character.
Yeah.
Guy gets on a Yiddish kick, right? Sends Yiddish for Dummies books to the whole industry because he's speaking Yiddish.
Yeah.
Like here's, I mean, he's not even Jewish. It's like, fine, okay, it's cute. He calls up on a Thursday. We have to decide a Journey single. It's timely. You're selling 50,000 records a week. Singles have to come out at a certain time. He's got to keep momentum going. Timely conversation. He calls me up. Hey, Rap, was machst du? He's talking to me in Yiddish. This is the manager of one of the biggest bands in the world. It's, worldwide, selling gazillions of albums. I'm like, Herbie, this is really cute. We have to discuss the single now. We have to figure out what it is today. I've got some ideas. He keeps talking Yiddish. He says, he stops. He goes, Rap, what the F? A nice Jewish boy like you can't learn a little Yiddish? I'm like, Herbie, I get it. It's cute. It's great. But this is a timely conversation. We're selling 50,000 albums a week. You and I have to decide this single now. He goes, I know. Learn your Yiddish and call me back. Click. Okay, this is rock and roll business in the 80s. It's how life was. It's how the whole business was. It was a big, it wasn't just all about the money. The money came, because of the art that we were doing, the things we were doing. People were characters. You got credit for being a character. I was a character. He was a character. But just to show you, so guess what I did? I learned 2 lines of Yiddish to call him back so I could discuss the single, so we could put the single out, so we could sell 50,000 more records. This is the music business of the 70s and the 80s. And I just wanted to capture that in a book because no one would believe it. Like, this is like bananas.